Hello everyone, I'm going to discuss a simple but effective strategy to write sociology answer. Exactly this strategy was followed by many student of mine, whether it's UPSC rank 3 holder Gamini Singla or 10th rank holder Sanjita Mohapatra or various other later on selected students. See, writing marks fetching sociology answer in UPSC mains exam is not a math, not a simple math, but actually it's chemistry, you can say. Why chemistry? Because it requires a blend of things like your sociological understanding, your overall sociological understanding. Also, it requires theoretical depth. Also, it requires analytical rigor. And not only that, also it requires effective structuring of answers. And wherever possible, your answer must show contemporary relevance. Clear? So the point is, your answer to the extent possible must reflect these things. Clear? So now we will discuss what are various important element, critical element of a high scoring sociology answer. So here, steps in writing good sociological answer. So there would be two steps. First step in that is step just before writing your answer, just before you start jotting down your answer copy, before that, just before that. And second would be actual writing, steps during writing the answer. So that would be two steps. Now come to this first, steps before writing answer. Now see, while writing answers, first mistake students do is that they do not understand the exact demand of the question. And therefore, what happens is that they fail to fulfill the exact demand of the question. So what would be our first important step here? First important step in marks fetching answer writing strategy is that you must understand the exact meaning of the question and exact demand of the question. And you must fulfill those things. You must fulfill demand of the question. Clear now? So here, first understand meaning and demand of the question. So many a time, students while writing answer, they have not clearly understood what question says and what is the demand of the question. And they have written something which should not be written altogether. Okay, na? What they have written was not asked in the question. They were just beating around the bush, you can say. And see, anything not related to question is simply a garbage. And if you are writing unrelated, unnecessary things in the answer script, it is like what? Garbaging the floor, dirting the floor with the garbage. And as a result, you will not get marks. You will not fetch good marks in the exam. So what you will do? You will write only relevant things which is demanded by the question. So now here, question arises. How can you do that? You know that every question has a specific demand. It contains a specific query. And in return, what it does, it demands a very specific answer also. So first thing here is, what you will do is, you must read question very carefully. And you must pay close attention to directive words. What directive words? You might be seeing in the questions, there may be various directive words, like say discuss, analyze, critically analyze or examine, evaluate, elucidate, okay na, compare, contrast, such kind of things. So you must read those and underline those things, because on that line you have to answer. Clear? So you must read question very carefully and try to understand meaning of the question. Now see here, there is one more thing, that you have to be very careful, because there is a reason that when you would try to understand the question, so what happens is that content, they start coming into your mind, and you start thinking at that moment related to content, that what content should come here. This would be a mistake. So here you have to be cautious, because there is a tendency for the content to pressurize you. They actually overwhelm you. You can say frighten you. So as a result of that, its consequence is that you write just because you know something and you start writing. It is not because the question demands it. That's why I say be very careful when you are trying to understand the question. Do not let the content come to your mind at that point of time. So read question very carefully and try to understand meaning of the question. Then what you will do then? You raise 3, 4 or even 5 logical questions about the question asked in the exam. So second step here, raise logical question out of main question. So raise logical questions, and you will think of the content only after you have identified the logical questions. Those 3, 4 or even those 5 logical questions what you have to raise. Now the again question comes that how to raise logical questions. So here I would like to demonstrate this with example. So say for example, question says that question critically examine the concept of collective conscience by Emil Durkheim in context of modern societies. So suppose this is your question. Okay. So what is the meaning of the question? You have to look into that what actually question says. You must understand that first. So what is its meaning? So its meaning is that what is collective conscience, and you have to look for applicability into Durkheim's this concept in modern society, whether Durkheim's this concept is relevant or not in modern society. So you have to present argument in favor of and against it, because question says critically examined. So you must examine that. So that is what this question is asking about. So what I am doing right now, I am not thinking of content, what is to be written. I am not thinking about that. Okay, na? I have understood the question. I was trying to understand the question. So I have understood the question. So once we understood the question, then I am going to raise various logical questions. So what would be logical questions? What would be logical questions here? So first logical question would be, what is collective conscience? Okay, na? So you must try to answer this later on. We'll come to that. So what is collective conscience? One. Second logical question would be that what was Durkheim's treatment of this concept of collective conscience. Third logical question could be, what is relevance of Durkheim's concept of conscience collective in modern society? And fourth logical question would be, what is the limitations? That is your criticism of Durkheim's concept of conscience collective in modern society. So what we actually did here, we broke down that question into 4 parts and then think of content related to those questions, and then you will write it down in phrases. Okay, na? Means what? Means expand the answer to each of those logical questions into a paragraph. Once done in that order, in proper structure, would be ready. A proper structure would be ready. Our answer in a proper structure would be ready. Okay, so got this point? So first step in answer writing is what? To understand the demand of the question and must fulfill the exact demand of the question. And here we would understand meaning of question and raise logical question out of question. Clear? Now come to that second aspect. Here it was 2, na? So first step was before writing answer. So these 2 things we have to done. Now come to this second step, actual writing answer, steps during writing answer. So while writing the answer, your answer should be divided into 3 parts. One, there should be a strong introduction. Second would be body, content rich body with multi-dimensionality. And third, of course, would be conclusion part. That your answer should have balanced and conclusive ending. Clear, na? So here, introduction, body and conclusion, 3 things. Now when it comes to say that introduction part, okay, in introduction no artificial introduction is required. No artificial introduction is required. In fact, in introduction, explain the meaning of the question. That is your introduction. And if possible, give a brief overview of what you want to say in the answer, in the introduction itself. So that by reading the introduction, the examiner would develop an interest in reading rest of your answer. Okay, here one thing you can also do in introduction, you can also define key terms, introduce the main argument, thesis, and you can also provide the context. But here you have to be concise and impactful. Okay, now let me give you example for that question, what we question saw related to that conscience collective. So what you can write in intro for that conscience collective, that Emil Durkheim's concept of collective conscience or this conscience collective refers to what? The totality. If you might have read that Durkheim's concept of conscience collective. So what is it? It refers to totality of belief and sentiment common to the average member of a society, forming a determinate system that has a life of its own. And what Durkheim has called to that conscience collective, ultimate social fact. Okay, na? So you will write, and for Durkheim it is a ultimate social fact. Then you can say that while it is assumed as a fundamental unifying force in simple societies characterized by low division of labor, its relevance in the complex, diverse, and individualized modern society necessitates a critical examination. So now you have given a context here. Okay, na? That your argument, your later on answer is going on these things only. You will deal on that. And this was actually demand of the question. Or you can provide intro in another way also. Like say Emil Durkheim, a pioneering figure in sociology, developed the concept of collective conscience as a powerful supra-individual reality, comprising say shared beliefs, morals, sentiments that bind individuals to society. And for Durkheim, this collective conscience was the very essence of social solidarity. It was highly coercive in traditional societies. However, as societies transitioned into modernity, marked by increasing differentiation, individualism, and the rise of, say, organic solidarity, so the nature and role of this collective conscience become subject to significant transformation and debate. So that could be your introduction. Also, another introduction. Clear na? So in this line, you must introduce and set a context, and further in later part. Which part? In body part. You will elaborate. Okay, na? So that introduction is going to set the tone of your further answer. Your introduction would be such that while reading introduction, examiner should be further interested, or he must get an idea that your answer is going to proceed in which direction. That is very important. Now, then come to this body part, multidimensionality. Okay, see, in main body. So in exam, what would be there? Your answer script. So first introduction here, this much you can devote to main body part, and remaining portion conclusion. So this is your answer script, copy page. Okay, na? So in main body, so what you will do in your body part of answer script? Here you will explain various concepts. You will give argument in favor of, or say against what you are saying, depending on the nature of the question, and substantiate those arguments. This is your duty to do. And here you will mention various data, various thinkers. So it is said that your body should be content rich with multidimensionality. What is the meaning of multidimensionality here? Here it means that you will try to explore all possible dimensions demanded by that question, based on the demand of the question. Also here you will present argument, logically using subheadings and bullet points. So you will also incorporate, say, thinkers, theories, concept, current affairs, data, examples. Everything would be part of your main body. Okay, with data you can also start in intro also to set the question in one particular direction. So that's why this answer writing is called an art. It depends completely up to you how you are presenting your answer. Okay, na? Anyway, now in this body part there should be seamless integration of sociological thinkers that don't just list the names. You must explain how their ideas apply to the question. Use their specific terminologies sociological jargons, you must use those jargons which has been propounded by, given by famous sociologist. You must use that also and use it correctly and naturally. Why? It will show that you are thinking like a sociologist. Now see, when you said that you have understood these theories in simple word, so understanding the theories in simple word is good for our own personal understanding. But when you are writing the answer in the examination, it should look like as it is written from a very scholarly perspective, academic point of view. And that is exactly the difference in general studies and optional paper answer writing. I give you a simple example. For example, you have studied Durkheim. So if question is on Durkheim concept of division of labor, so you must mention concept like low division of labor, high division of labor. Concept we spoke about, that conscience collective. You also, if question is related to conscience collective and it depends on the nature of question, so you can also, you are expected to mention that nature of conscience collective in terms of, you might have heard 4, that is determinate, content, intensity and volume. This nature is different in society based on low division of labor, and that 4 nature is completely different when society moved to a society based on high division of labor. Such things you are expected to mention in your answer. Then this examiner would be impressed that you have studied your paper properly, optional properly. Also, your answer should carry sociological concept like say mechanical solidarity, organic solidarity. If question is related to anomy, it should come. So these things actually shows mastery of Durkheim's concept that you have done. And this is exactly what Durkheim has talked about. Or suppose if you talking about Max Weber, study of Protestant ethics and the spirit of capitalism, the relationship between religion and economy. So you must mention about ideas of calling, notion of what? Predestination, inner worldly asceticism. If necessary, you must mention ideal type. Also, you can mention what were the characteristic feature of spirit of capitalism. So such things you are expected to be, these things must be mentioned by you in the examination, in that your answer script. Take other example, Karl Marx theory of class struggle. And if you do not mention pauperization, homogenization, imagerization leading to polarization, or subjective awareness of objective reality, or how class in itself transforms into class for itself, that means it is not written from the academic point of view as demanded by the question. I have checked hundreds of scripts, and in many scripts these very crucial elements were missing. But you are expected to mention terms, these terms like class struggle, bourgeoisie, proletariat, okay, na, base, superstructure, classless society. So these are basic things which have to be written in your answer. But of course, based on the nature of question, demand of the question. So please do make use of sociological terminologies. That will give your answer an academic orientation. So you must do it. If you do not do it, you will not fetch marks in sociology. Your marks would linger somewhere between say 30% or 40%. So that is the point. Clear? Also, if possible, make your answer more relevant through current affairs. Sorry. Use current affairs in your answer and Indian examples. Current affairs, Indian examples you must put in your answer. Why? Because for a good and relevant answer, it is expected to the extent possible that you have the ability to relate your answer to the contemporary social reality. Contemporary social reality. Now, how you will do that? Through examples. You will cite examples. For example, say from where you will take examples? Examples, say, from internet, from various websites, magazine, newspaper, the things which you read daily for your general studies. That would be actually the source of your current data, current examples. So keep in mind various topics mentioned in sociology. You must memorize what is there inside your sociology syllabus. And based on that, you will be looking for relevant examples which you can relate with your sociological concepts. And that will add value, immense value to your answer. Current data on various issues. For example, if you look into your syllabus, sociology syllabus, so there is suicide, child labor, poverty, violence against women, education, okay, now population. So data related to population growth, disparity in education, slums, informal sector, bondage labor, sex ratio, reproductive health. There is mention of displacement, migration. These are your sociological topics mentioned in the syllabus. So if you collect recent data, recent trend on this issue from your current affairs study and mention in your answer, so what it will do? It will have a positive impact on your answer. It will give authenticity and a heavy weightage to your answer. For example, say data related to suicide. Okay, so there is one agency, it is called NCRB, that is National Crime Record Bureau, that is Indian. They keep publishing data on suicide in India, and suicide is an important topic in your sociology syllabus. So this curiosity must be there inside you, that what is the rate of suicide in India, for example, or say which type of people or which type of group commit more suicide in India, okay na, or say regional variance in suicide rate in India, you will also look for, or say gender wise suicide, male female suicide rate. So on these various parameters you must collect data on suicide. Also you must try to collect data related to extent of migration in India, or say other topics, say modern slavery, bonded labor, crimes against women, child labor, data related to poverty, data related to say illiteracy, or various demographic data, and all such thing you will do. And that is very easy. Actually, you can easily do because you read current affairs so dedicatedly for your general studies, for your mains, for your prelims. So easily you can do that. Also, you will find that from time to time, various international agencies or Indian agencies, they keep publishing various reports, various data. They keep providing their various viewpoint on various topics. So their report, their viewpoint, their data is a very good raw material for you to substantiate your answer related to such topics. Now see, if you are putting some argument in favor or against something, so see, there will be two parts of your content. One would be what? One would be argument, and second would be substantiation. Now here, if you are making an argument for something, so it is said that if you are not giving proof of it, if you are arguing without substantiation, then it will have no authenticity, no credibility, no validity. And if you are giving substantiation without any argument, it is said it has of no use. So both things should be there. Both things. So what you will do, first you will make argument, and then you must substantiate it. And how you will do that? How you will substantiate it? Either you quote a thinker, or you give examples from your current development, or you can quote any case studies if you have prepared. You can also give statistical data. Clear? And sometimes there are topics for which there have been studies conducted by sociologists themselves that you can cite by way of evidence. Those studies would constitute the evidence in favor of what you are saying in your answer. Clear? Now further, suppose you do not know thinkers for a topic. So do not be afraid. And you will find, particularly in second paper sociology, there is no thinkers, no specific thinkers for many topics. So what you will do, you will use those reports, data of these agencies which I mentioned, or other sources, to make your answer authentic. So report and data provided by, for example, say United Nations, various agencies, or World Bank, Asian Development Bank, UNHCR, Human Development Report. There is also UN Women, okay na? UN Women Agency, or NCRB. Such kind of various agencies, they keep publishing their report and data, and I would say you must visit their site, and you must visit their site and try to collect relevant data and note it down in your notebook and think where to apply, how you would apply. Okay na? So such homework you must do from your side. That is going to add value to your answer, and you would stand, your answer would stand apart from others' answer. You will use that in your answer. That would be very much relevant, and most of the candidates actually fail to do so, and therefore they end up getting less marks in their optional. Okay, then to the extent possible, always try to connect theoretical concept to contemporary Indian society. This is actually crucial for paper 2, and it adds significant value to your paper 1 answer also. So for example, that example I said, that collective conscience question. So there was way back Kerala flood. Kerala flood would be an example of what? Solidarity. That how people helped each other in times of distress. or take other example. For example, say uniform civil code debate, and say other thing rising, that urban suicide rates. You can say the manifestation of challenges, of a single collective conscience. Or say mention the Indian Constitution as the unifying document embodying what? Shared ideals, conscience, collective. Or if question is on women, so bring in Marxist perspective, feminist perspective. So demonstrate multi-perspectival thinking. Okay, na? And that your wide breadth of your say knowledge taken from paper 1, and you try to apply to the extent possible in paper 2. Or for a question related to say sociology of work and economic life in second paper, if they ask, so you could use informalization of labor. You can mention gig economy workers, that Zomato workers, for example, Ola drivers, okay, Amazon, Flipkart agents, delivery agents, and their lack of social security. So linking to Karl Marx alienation concept, or Max Weber's rationalization leading to iron cage, such kind of things. Or say if you are talking about changing nature of professions, so you can discuss the impact of artificial intelligence, impact of AI on traditional professions like say law, medicine, okay na? And perhaps linking to Durkheim's division of labor theory also. Clear? So such kind of things you are expected to do from your. Then also use diagrams and flowcharts, but use judiciously. If you are making diagrams, flowcharts, that adds to lots of value to your content. In fact, they help you in saving some time also. See, whenever you write optional paper or GS, you find at least 2-3 questions you won't be able to tackle properly, attempt properly, because of time issue. You find you have not enough time left to answer those questions. So those flowcharts becomes very handy in expressing your viewpoint in minimum possible words. At least it helps you to complete the paper. You can easily complete your paper. So flowchart is also very important. And there are certain standard diagrams which you can make use of. For example, we have diagram to show what? Typology of suicide, which is a standard diagram in sociology on the basis of integration, on the basis of what? Regulation. So there easily you can say, you can show that 4 types of suicide. What kind of suicide? Like egoistic, altruistic, fatalistic, okay na? Anomic. Such kind of suicide as given by Emil Durkheim. Then we have Devian's theory of Merton. Clear na? Devian's theory of Merton. So you have conformist, innovator, ritualist, retreatist, you have rebellion. Or say for a question on social movements, so relative deprivation, resource mobilization. So a flow chart showing the interrelation of factor leading to a movement. Okay na? Then for say social stratification, a simple pyramid to represent what? Class hierarchy. If you talk about family types, so a small flow chart showing the evolution of say from joint to nuclear families due to industrialization, urbanization. So such kind of things can be done and must be done from your side. Okay. So make use of diagrams wherever it is possible. Make use of flowcharts. Use here, but use clear, simple, clear diagram to explain complex relationship or classification, but avoid making them too much artistic or say too much time consuming. It should not be too much time consuming. Okay. So your main body part here, answer, should be what? Content rich with multi-dimensionality. Here you must show the examiner that you are very much genius in this art and game of answer writing. You can explore your answer from all dimensions relevant to the question. Once you do that, examiner would be very happy. And when he becomes very happy, he is going to give you, he or she is going to give you more marks. Okay, na? Top ranking marks. Okay, now come to the conclusion. In case of conclusion, when it comes to conclusion, so you conclude with a balanced, your conclusion should have a balanced ending, conclusive ending. And here also no artificial conclusion is required. Whatever you have argued in your answer, summarize that argument in the conclusion. Summarize your main points, offer a balanced perspective. And if nature of question demands, then you also provide a futuristic outlook, optimistic outlook, or say a way forward. And very importantly, avoid introducing new arguments in conclusion. Clear now? So that is the simple and the most effective way to write your. Clear? Now little bit more thing. Also keep in mind here some general tips for all sociological answer, that your presentation has to focus more on clean. It should be cleanliness. Okay na? There should be proper flow in your answer. There should be coherence in your paragraph, not haphazard paragraph. There must be a coherence among paragraphs. Okay. Also, you must make use of subheadings. Subheading adds some coherence to your answer. Okay na? You can use bullet points. Okay na? Then you also must highlight the important terms. What you are writing, you must highlight your important terms, points, concept. That is very actually important. Why? Because it makes your answer more visible, and therefore it becomes very, very easy for the examiner to read your script in very much less time. So it will save time for the examiner, and he will reward you in terms of giving more marks. See, from my personal experience, I am telling you, reading a script is a very difficult thing of student. One student, if they have written say 40 pages answer, it's a highly boring thing to read one's script and find out what they have written and assign a mark. That is very boring. And now those people who generally check your script in UPSC exam, they are generally retired people above 60 years. Okay na? And if they are going to do such kind of boring things, it will be very difficult for them to do so. So it is responsibility from your side, responsibility of you to make it interesting. How you will do that? If you, for example, if you are writing related to say Karl Marx or Emil Durkheim, so that examiner, they may have a answer set. Key terminologies would be there in that answer set, model answer I'm talking about. So he would search in your answer those things. So once you have highlighted important things, that examiner's task becomes very easy. So he would do tick, 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 these things are there. He would be happy. He would assign you 60% marks because all elements he was looking for, you have already highlighted. So he won't be now much interested in studying, reading your entire script. And there is exactly no requirement of that. And no one does that. If they are forced to do that, to read your entire script line by line, then it becomes very problematic for that examiner also and for you also. Okay, now so you must highlight relevant points, concept that he will look into that and he understands that you know things. 1-2 line he will read in that what you have written, and if he satisfies, so he will form an idea that this student has proper knowledge of sociology. He has mentioned all the concepts there, so I don't waste my time in reading full script. Assign him or her good number and close our bag and go home. Because they are also in hurry to go home, their home, because they check copy in like duty bound manner. They come to this UPSC building and they do such kind of job there. Okay now, so highlighting important points are very crucial. Now depending upon your content, that how much things point you are going to highlight. So 5, 6 or maximum 7 in one page you can highlight. Okay, or if you highlight more than that, then it becomes very distracting for evaluator. He or she does not understand exactly where you want to draw their attention. Clear? No? So such kind of things. And further also, word limit. Adhere strictly. So practice writing concise sentences. Also ensure legibility. That ensure your handwriting, whatever you have written, that is readable. Clear? And of course, refer paper 1 concept in paper 2. As I said earlier, always look for opportunity to apply paper 1 theories and concept to Indian society. Question in this paper 2. This is a huge marks fetching strategy. But not unnecessarily you try to, वो हिंदी में बोलते हैं ना घुसड़ते जा रहे हैं, no. Then that is not going to help you. That should be relevant. Okay. And also you must review toppers copies. Okay na? Many coaching institutes, they upload toppers copies. So you go and see how they present their answer. Analyze how top scorers structure their answer. How they integrate thinkers and how they use examples. So try to also learn from that. That is also very important. Then you will realize in your answer and in their answer, for someone there would be huge difference, and for other student there won't be much difference. So you can gain confidence. अगर वो इस तरह लिख करके top scorer बन सकता है, then I am sitting here top scorer. I am also having the chance to gain 60+% marks in this optional very easily. Okay na? So such kind of things. So by incorporating these elements into your answer writing practice, you will not only improve the quality of your answer, but also develop the analytical prowess. You will develop analytical capability required to excel in UPSC mains sociology paper. I hope you agree. Now I have started this answer writing. So this was actually related to how to write answer, marks fetching answer. Now here one more thing I want to say. I have started this answer writing practice. So what I do, I give one answer question and I explain up and upload on YouTube channel. So you are expected that you must look into that question and try to write that question's answer, okay, and then you must listen or must watch to that discussion lecture and treat that discussion lecture as model answer, okay, and see how close your answer is to that what I have discussed, okay. Now so treat it as model answer and that would be very helpful for you. So please, you must do that, okay. And if you have anything, any doubt related to it, you can ask me in comment section. I would find time to respond. Clear? And one more thing that my here administrator, he says, please request student to subscribe to your channel, like, and one more thing I think they are saying has come hype or something. So see that what is that hype and what you can do, please do that, okay. So with these things I'm stopping here. I will see you in next class topic discussion question answer, okay. No, okay, see you, thank you very much.